Eightfold path to Christianity. To the 8 Beatitudes is what it is. Early summary of the path of Buddhist practices leading to liberation from samsara, the painful cycle of rebirth in the form of nirvana. It consists of 8 practices: the right view, the right resolve, the right speech, the right conduct, the right livelihood, the right effort, the right mindfulness, and the right samadhi, meditative absorption of union. So the last one is a little bit out there, but looking at the world the right way, the right view, the right resolve. Now, what does resolve mean? Somebody do me a favor and Google the definition of resolve and then just paste it in the chat. I'm trying to... I can't really use my laptop because I'm freaking avoiding Crackle City. The right view is looking at the world the right way. The right resolve, we'll go back to that one. The right speech, managing how you talk, watching what you say, not speaking with a haughty tongue. The right conduct, how you carry yourself in the world. The right livelihood, that's another one that... See, these aren't as obvious. This is what I've said in the comparisons, is that, like, I think Christ's teachings are more transparent, which, in my opinion, usually means you're a better teacher. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with having to think a little bit, having to dig a little bit deeper. The right effort, the right mindfulness, the right samadhi, which is meditation. Early Buddhism, these practices started with understanding that the body-mind works in a corrupted way, a right view, following by entering the Buddhist path of self-observance. Well, what does that say, though, if it's in the Bible and it's in Buddhism? So, the body-mind works in a corrupted way. That sounds like original sin. These practices started with an understanding that the body-mind works in a corrupted way. Just like original sin. So they both come from the same starting point of that we're corrupted. So that's the right view. The right view is understanding that you're corrupted. Followed by entering the Buddhist path of self-observance, self-restraint, cultivating kindness and compassion, and culminating in dhyana or samadhi, which reinforces these practices for the development of the body-mind. In later Buddhism, insight became a central soteriological instrument. So what is soteriology in Christianity? How do you save yourself? Leading to a different concept and structure of the path, in which the goal of the Buddhist path came to be specified as ending ignorance and rebirth. So the biggest difference is that Buddhism says you're escaping the reincarnation cycle, and Christianity says that you're escaping hell. Well, I would say that you either ascend in sainthood or not. I mean, if what you're saying is that there's no kind of like ascension or liberation in Christianity, I mean, there's something called theosis in Orthodoxy. In Orthodoxy, they call it theosis, or being sanctified. Your mind becoming more like the mind of God. Like, there is attainment, there is improvements to be made through the Christian way. I notice that a lot of Christians are very uncomfortable with this stuff. Like, no, there's no spiritual attainment in Christianity. There's no path. There's no spiritual attainment. There's nothing. It's not anything like Buddhism. And I just feel like it is. Morality, meditation, and insight. In Buddhist symbolism, the Noble Eightfold Path is often represented by the means of the Dharma wheel, in which its 8 spokes represent the 8 elements of the path. Yeah, I mean, I feel like sin and karma is very similar. Creating bad karma, sinning, having a corrupted body mind, having original sin. How can people not see these similarities? I think it makes people uncomfortable. It's like, there do seem to be some similarities. And I have kind of a theory that I continue to go back to that is very controversial. It's like when you weigh things out, similarities and differences, well, the main difference is hell versus reincarnation. What's scarier? Eternal conscious torment or physical rebirth into the world? I mean, look, life is scary, bro. Like, you could even say, and you hear incels and black pillars say this, black pillars talk about this life as being eternal conscious torment. And if you believe that the reincarnation cycle is eternal, and you believe life is suffering, well, then life on earth is basically hell. Now, is that what I believe? I don't think so. But there's an element of fear in Christianity that doesn't seem to be as present in Buddhism and Eastern mysticism and wisdom in general. Now, what role does this fear play in Christianity? Well, I think it definitely serves to fill the churches. And if you saw the church as a political government instrument of control, fear of hell would be utilized to fill the churches, especially when you have a Catholic doctrine of salvation via the church only. Now, Protestants have claimed that you do not need the Catholic Church to be saved. I believe a consistent Protestant would say that Catholics aren't going to hell. And if they are, it's for idolatry. Sure, I can understand that. But they do say salvation by faith alone. Well, I think the most consistent of Protestants would say you don't have to go to any church to get saved. And even though Catholics are confused, they're still getting saved. So, Protestants arguably liberated Christians from the church, even though they still have a church. Then you start looking at some of the things that people pointed out to me. It's like, well, actually, mysticism, Christian mysticism came from Protestants. People accused Martin Luther of being a Rosicrucian. He used the symbolism of the Rosy Cross, which was later adopted by the Rosicrucians. People believed that Francis Bacon was a Rosicrucian. Well, he was also an astute member of the Anglican Church. So, Rosicrucians, Protestants, Christian mysticism, salvation through Christ outside of the church. Meister Eckhart, Bohm. Apparently, Joachim of Fiore was more embraced outside of Orthodoxy and Catholicism, which makes sense to me. Because Orthodoxy and Catholicism have a strict view of salvation that adheres to adhering to the church strictly, a strict adherence to the church. So I am putting all these puzzle pieces together, where I definitely see how Christian mysticism would be more in line with Protestantism. But I believe that there's very high levels of Christian mysticism being practiced in monasteries. There's similarities between the Eightfold Path and the teachings of Christ. So where is this all leading? I don't know. I don't know. But I think it's leading somewhere away from fear. And this is where Catholics and Protestants, this is where Christians start to panic. No! Be afraid! Be very afraid! No, you're not going in the right direction. That's dangerous. It's dangerous not to be afraid of eternal damnation. Well, I think it might be enlightening, and I think it might save you from fear. I think it might bring you closer to love and understanding and contentment and peace. Hell is unarguably in the Bible. Jesus unarguably talks about hell. Gnashing and weeping outside of the kingdom of heaven. Gehenna, he compares it to a dump. But does that leave room for some different interpretations? Does it have to be Dante's Inferno? Nope. Nope. And I even talked to the priest about it. He says that it's simply worse than heaven by a long shot. There's no comparison. Heaven is better. And it's removed from God. So, yeah, I feel like I might be on to something, buddy boyos. And it leads towards peace. It leads toward loving kindness and peace. My biggest obstacle is sexuality, chuddies. Since I've moved, I've considered that I have more options with women. I've realized that there could be some opportunity to have success with women, and combined with dealing with some of the stress of the move and adapting to my new life, I have definitely backslid on my chastity. I think the first step is realizing that it's better away from that. It's better to get away from that. If you don't believe that it's better, well, then why would you even remove it? If it's not better, why would you head away from something better? Why would you work hard to do something that's not better? That's the question. But it is better, and you need to try to understand it. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. The heavy yoke is fear of hell if you don't do something all the time. Work. I'm not even really sure what you're trying to say there, bro. We got to overcome, chuddies. We got to just calm down. We got to just slow down. I was thinking about making a video about that. Can we slow life down? That's what I wanted to make a video about. Like, when you're yelling on the internet, when you're getting A-logged, when you're saying shit that makes you look bad, when you're blowing it, when you're getting angry, when you're getting in fights, when you're doing bad things, bro. Like, when you're a man beating his wife or kids, like, when you're committing crimes, when you're messing up your life, when you're doing things that cause you problems in life, it gets to a point where you're just like, why did I do that? Why couldn't I just slow down, calm down? You start to realize it's pointless. Why did I have to act out in a way that made my life harder? Why did I have to do that? And hopefully you'll realize that you didn't. It wasn't necessary. It didn't do anything for you. It's like, oh, well, it's cathartic. Like, oh, there's this negative energy in me and I have to lash out. I have to react in a way. I had no choice. I had no choice but to do that thing that ultimately made my life harder. It's like, you did. You had the choice to back up, slow down, calm down, regroup, recenter, take a chill pill, eat a sandwich, get a glass of water, watch some TV, listen to some music, lean back and tune out. You had the option to just chill instead of lashing out, instead of creating more negative karma, instead of sinning. And when you understand that, you're confronted with the reality that you can stop blowing it. But what happens is that you start to regret the fact that you've already blown it. But that's where people need to forgive. That becomes other people's burdens. It's like there's people out there who are not forgiving me, who are not attempting to get to a position of unconditional love in terms of me. They're not allowing me to move on from my past. They're holding it over my head that I messed up in the past. But that's their problem. That's their burden. Now they're creating negative karma. Now they're sinning. Now they're not living in the path. Your negative past is making it difficult for other people to ascend now, which in itself is a negative thing. But don't let that hold you back, bro. Gets to a point where your past is holding other people back. And that's sad. But don't let it hold you back, because you can be better. I might have to clip this later. I think I'm going to clip the end of the stream. This is a good discussion, Kev TV. But it has become time for me to leave. So I will see you next time. God bless, my friends. Have a good one.